It's a process. I give it time and it give me back progress. Now I'm just trying to be honest and profit off of cutting through all the nonsense. Sick of the straw man, go all in, man, they can never stay on topic. Being dumb don't leave you with many options. Come on, let's be honest, bro, I leave them in shock. They just mad I'm the cream of the crop.
What's up, everybody? I'm Skullz, and today we're continuing the Tool journey and going into 10,000 Days. The first song is called Vicarious. Honestly, I wanted a little break between Lateralis and this album just because Lateralis, or any Tool album really, there's a lot to digest and there's a lot to absorb and a lot to process. And I feel it's important between albums to kind of have some time to process so you could take away as much as you can from the experience. But the reality is, these are songs that you'd have to sit on and process for years. Between the philosophy behind them, the technicalities of the music, the subtleties in the production to insinuate things, it's just so much to take away from these experiences. And I'm not gonna keep you guys waiting years for me to continue on to the album, so I'm just absorbing what I can and I'm just gonna keep moving. But I'm really excited. I know a lot of people tend to think that after Lateralis, Tool slightly dips in quality, but even if that's true, a slight dip in quality for Tool is still remarkable music. And honestly, coming off of Lateralis, I am so curious where they're going in their evolution, in their narrative. I've heard some people say that this album is dedicated to his mom. I don't know to what extent. So if you guys have any information for me in that regard, definitely let me know. But man, I am so excited. Lateralis is seriously one of the best albums by far that I've heard in my life. There is an insane amount of wisdom in that album. And I think I said it in another reaction. I feel like wisdom is a big missing factor in our culture today. That album is such a helpful album. It's almost like guided meditation. In meditating on the ideas within the album can only lead to a better outlook on life in your current circumstances and whatever you're going through. Because the thing about Tool is they have never downplayed the suffering of life. They've always acknowledged it, and because of that, that album means so much more. Like Lateralis on its own is a masterpiece, but the previous two albums add so much to that experience, or at least that's how I feel. Going from Undertow to Lateralis, it shouldn't make sense on paper, but it just does. But I'm rambling. Let me shut up. I really want to hop into this. But first, if you're new here, consider hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and notification bell. Helps the channel grow, helps the video reach more people, and I appreciate it a lot. Let's hop into this album. this is different, man. This is really different for them. Maynard singing like very breathy with like a little bit of rasp in there. I don't think I've heard him sing like that really. I mean, there was a little bit of that on the title track Lateralis, but I feel like you can attribute that more to like the layering of the vocals. The way they were mixed together created that kind of effect in his voice, rather than here it sounds more natural, like the way he's actually singing it, because it doesn't sound like there's any layers on his voice. But I gotta say, that intro, I love the intro. I love the way it sounded. The way Adam and Justin were playing together sounded great. And then Danny, this is the first time I feel like Danny has really sounded close to what I heard in Pneuma. For those who are following the Tool journey here, Pneuma was my first experience, the Danny cam, and that's what made me go back to the beginning. So I didn't skip ahead or nothing. All right, but let's hop into the lyrics. So verse 1, eye on the TV, 'cause tragedy thrills me. Whatever flavor it happens to be like. Killed by the husband, drowned by the ocean, shot by his own son. She used the poison in his tea, then kissed him goodbye. All right, so this is a social commentary right out the gate. And you know, this is a little bit reminiscent to Stinkfist, or at least it's following along the same themes. I also like that he used the word flavor because we're consuming it. But the lyrics continue. That's my kind of story. It's no fun till someone dies. Don't look at me like I'm a monster. Frown out your one face, but with the other. Stare like a junkie into the TV. Stare like a zombie while the mother holds her child. Watches him die. Hands to the sky crying, why oh why. Okay, so that hit me. Frown out the one face while the other stares at the TV like a junkie. I love how he laid out the hypocrisy there, basically calling people two-faced. I mean, he's basically calling people out for watching it like it's entertainment. I mean, you know how many people watch like NASCAR accidents and things like that? People taking out their phones and recording fights. I mean, especially with the direction that society's going in, it seems like entertainment is first over actually giving a crap. But then the chorus, 'cause I need to watch things die from a distance. Oh my God. Vicariously, I live while the whole world dies. You all need it too, don't lie. This is a brilliant social critique. Yeah, it is a strange thing. I mean, you know, like I'm not sitting here saying that I'm without any guilt. You know, I've watched some pretty awful things for entertainment. But it's like, if you want those thrills, you should go watch a movie, because you know what? That's not real. It's a healthier way to feed that. You know, it's like hitting a punching bag, for instance. We have aggressive tendencies about us, but we don't go out just hitting everybody, you know? Like, that would be horrible. That'd be a horrible way to do that. So instead, hit a punching bag. Get it out. Feed your biology what it needs, but don't use those urges for bad. You gotta find healthier outlets. And again, this isn't me on some moral high ground. Like, you know, I'm not perfect, but I think it's important that we're all just trying to be better. Aim up, not down. Yo, this song's wild. I would not be surprised if this was one of their singles off of the album. This is definitely more radio friendly for Tool. But yeah, there's some weird time signature things going down. But one thing I'm really noticing about this song is it really feels like the band's really playing with each other. Like one thing I really noticed in Lateralis was that Adam and Justin were really playing away from each other. This song really feels like Justin and Adam are really blending together. And of course, that's not a bad thing. I like that they mix things up. That's one of Tool's best strengths, their diversity, their variety. But I feel like I got used to Lateralis's sound, and now I'm like, okay, this is kind of jarring, because I haven't heard this side of them in a while. But let's continue the lyrics. Verse 2, why can't we just admit it? We won't give pause until the blood is flowing. Neither the brave nor bold, nor brightest of stories told. We won't give pause until the blood is flowing. I like the call to basically be like, hey, society, admit it. Just admit it. Because once we admit it, we can figure out the problem. Put your finger on the problem, and then we can solve it. Because good God, man, lately with like politics, culture, and everything, it's so annoying how many people just dance around issues. Like, just put your damn finger on it. Nobody wants to solve an issue anymore. They want a scapegoat or create smoke and mirrors so we can't figure it out. But I like how he's saying we won't give pause, because he's still using that TV analogy. Because he could easily just say, we won't stop. But like I was saying, we're animals. We have issues. But you know what else has issues? Everyone in everything. It's okay to be involved in a process of self-improvement, but you can only do that when you admit you have an issue. Holy crap, man. Just the absolute craziness of that part. It had Tool's blueprints written all over it. And I love when it got calm there. It almost sounds like radio or TV's playing, different news stories happening. That's another example of great use from the production team. It immerses you in the story, it immerses you in the narrative, and it just adds to the song a lot. But all right, the bridge lyrics. Blood like rain come down, drum on grave and ground, part vampire, part warrior, carnivore and voyeur, stare at the transmittal, sing to the death rattle, la 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 la. But yeah, I mean, like reading this, it almost sounds like he's telling you to not suppress it, which is shadow work. And that's awesome, because like I said, you want to just admit that's how things are. And then if that's a problem, which it clearly is, then we will figure out how to incorporate it into our society in a healthier way. man, that was good. That was good. I love how Maynard was yelling that end part. This is the most like Undertow they've sounded since Undertow, but it's almost like Undertow and Anima put together. But then there's just a fresh spin that's all its own. It feels familiar and new at the same time, and that's awesome. That's exactly the type of tone you want to set going into an album. But all right, let's finish up the lyrics. So verse 3, credulous at best, your desire to believe in angels in the hearts of men. Pull your head out of your hippie haze and give a listen. Shouldn't have to say it all again. The universe is hostile, so impersonal. Devour to survive, so it is, so it's always been. He's basically calling out the naivety, and this is actually the first time I can understand why people might think that Maynard is anti-religious, even though I don't think he is. The desire to believe in angels. Basically what he's saying there is the desire to believe that people are inherently good. I don't think people are really inherently good. I think being good was a conscious choice. And it's so funny coming off of Lateralis because he kept talking about how his enlightenment was a choice. But anyways, what he was saying is that people's credulous desire to believe that people are just really, really good people at heart and don't have to work to be good people is very, very naive, and that's a big problem. Devour to survive, so it is, so it's always been. That reminds me so much of Disgustipated. This is necessary. Life feeds on life, feeds on life. And I mean, to our society's credit, we have gotten better. Rather than being barbaric, we would rather watch barbarians on TV. That is an improvement. But again, I just really appreciate the attempt to open people's eyes and realize that we are animals. We're not inherently good. And that's really important to know because then you know that you have to work to stay good. Or maybe you're not as good as you think. I know plenty of people like that. But then the outro, we all feed on tragedy. It's like blood to a vampire. Vicariously, I live while the whole world dies. Much better you than I. That last line really says it all. You know, it's funny. I listened to the Always Sunny podcast. I think that's something Megan said. She said she liked to watch those like murder shows because she likes to see what women did, the positions they put themselves in to get killed. And she would be like, oh yeah, I would never do that. And she'd like kind of get off on that a little bit, which is hilarious and messed up. But I love that she was able to admit that because that's kind of how it is. I mean, she was basically saying without saying it, it's better her than me. And you know, there's different ways to look at it. She could just be like, oh, okay, so like I'm good. Like I wouldn't have put myself in that position. It's a matter of like figuring out how did she die because I don't want to die. People do have different motives for watching that type of thing. I think ultimately we want to learn. But yeah, that song was crazy. I'm really curious now what direction they're going to go with this album. This is not at all how I was expecting this album to start. I honestly thought it was going to come in chill. I don't know. People have been saying that this is when they get a little bit softer, more tribal. Honestly, people were saying that with Lateralis, and boy, was I wrong when The Grudge came in. But that's where I'm going to wrap up this video, guys. We're off to a strong start here on 10,000 Days. I'm really looking forward to this album. I'm always looking forward to Tool Tuesdays. Probably my favorite day of the week at this point. But like I said at the beginning of the video, guys, if you're new here, consider hitting the like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell. Helps the channel grow, helps the video reach more people, and I appreciate it a lot. And wherever you are, I hope you're having a good day, good night, and as always, I look forward to the next one. Peace.